teachers vote to go on strike. But why? And how will this affect us?
Scarlett set sail to see how this sport is helping to save our oceans.
Today we're heading out on the water here in Bermuda to check out the Seagrass project.
This is FYI, the weekly news show where we bring you all the latest info on the big stories.
And you've probably seen on the news that some teachers from England and Wales have voted to go on strike, meaning they won't go back to work on certain days in the next few months.
Yeah, and some teachers in Scotland have already started striking, haven't they? So basically, a strike is usually in protest over something the workers think is unfair. Like other recent strikes, some teachers are walking out over how much they get paid. They think they should be getting more as food, clothes, electricity, gas and petrol become more expensive.
It's down to the politicians how much our teachers get paid. In an interview for FYI, we asked the Education Secretary what the government is going to do to stop teachers from striking.
What are you willing to do to stop our schools from being closed down by teacher strikes?
We're going to pay the teachers a rise, which is between 5 and 8.9%, and it is seen to be the fair approach.
But some teachers still want more, and until they can reach an agreement with the government, it's likely strikes will go ahead, and some schools may be forced to close.
Check out this story that's been doing the rounds online. But is it fact or fake news? America's President, Joe Biden, has supposedly banned gas stoves over climate change concerns. The appliances are reportedly emitting harmful pollutants that can be bad for our health and the environment. But is this fake or fact? Find out later.
Coming up, Scarlett finds out how some of the world's leading sailors are helping to save our oceans from pollution, plastic and climate change.
We're very lucky to be able to do our sport to a very high level, but what comes with that is the ability to have a voice and to use that voice for things that you really care about.
It seems everything's become more expensive recently, including household bills like heating and electricity. And the main reason for this is because of the COVID lockdown and the war in Ukraine.
There's less fuel available, so the price of gas and oil actually increased, and so have the bills our parents have to pay.
And because of this, big oil and energy companies have been having record profits. We're talking billions of pounds, while so many people have been struggling to pay their bills.
Yeah, and speaking of oil, did you hear that this year's president of the climate conference, COP28, has been announced?
Yeah, but not everyone's happy about it, right?
Right. So COP28 stands for the 28th Conference of Parties. It's a 2-week-long event where the world's leaders gather together to try and find ways to tackle climate change. And this year it's being held in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. Sultan Al Jaber has been announced as COP28's president. He is head of one of the world's biggest oil companies.
Hang on, so the person overseeing the climate change conference is also overseeing the production of oil, a fossil fuel. I mean, that's a bit of a conflict of interest, isn't it?
Yeah, and as you can imagine, many climate activists and campaigners are calling for Sultan Al Jaber to stand down.
But it could be a good thing, right? It will get people like him in the conference, and the whole world will be watching to see what the oil industry does to save our planet.
Another fossil fuel is coal, and you may have seen the protest at a potential new coal mine in Germany. Climate campaigner Greta Thunberg was briefly detained by German police there, and was seen being carried away by officers.
SailGP like to remind us that they are powered by nature. The wind fills the sails as these high-powered racing boats literally fly through the waves.
What a masterclass at the start line there!
But every sport has some environmental impact, especially international races, which need teams of people and kit to be transported across the world. So can international sports have a positive impact?
They turn the boat now. He's judged it perfectly again.
I love the sea. I think it's beautiful, you can go swimming and snorkeling, and it's home to loads of different species of fish. And we all know how important it is to protect our oceans. And there's loads of plastic waste in our waters. But that's not the only threat. Because of climate change, sea temperatures are rising, and that's killing fish and coral. Hannah Mills says her experience of seeing the effects of climate change on the sea close up has inspired her to become an environmental campaigner.
We're very lucky to be able to do our sport to a very high level, but what comes with that is the ability to have a voice and to use that voice for things that you really care about. It's a really privileged position to be in. So sustainability is a huge passion.
As well as working with SailGP to get rid of single-use plastics, Hannah has been working on an interesting project beneath the waves.
Today we're heading out on the water here in Bermuda to check out the seagrass project, which is a really exciting project. We're going to be placing some cages over the seagrass to protect it from the turtles who eat it.
So why does seagrass need protecting from turtles?
The turtles are really overpopulated here in Bermuda.
Turtles eat so much seagrass that other animals that live in the seagrass have lost their homes. So by putting cages over it, it allows it to grow back.
As humans, we are disrupting different ecosystems by our activities, so to protect them and to make sure they're continuing to thrive is really important.
One thing I've learned that I didn't know before is that growing seagrass is one of the best ways of capturing carbon from our atmosphere. Scientists say that all of the coal, oil and gas that we burn in factories, power stations and cars sends off more and more harmful gases into the atmosphere, such as carbon dioxide. These gases trap heat from the sun and around our planet, causing it to heat up. That leads to changing climates, such as the UK's recent heat waves, and we can expect more of them, we're told. So what's the solution? There are many ways to reduce the amount of carbon in the Earth's atmosphere. Experts say one of the best weapons are plants. Plants absorb carbon dioxide to grow, whilst releasing oxygen. Seagrass is a type of plant which lives in shallow, sheltered areas along our coast. It captures carbon up to 35 times faster than tropical rainforests. Can you imagine? That makes it such an amazing way to tackle climate change. And SailGP are working with communities in Bermuda and Plymouth to plant it. I think that SailGP are doing an incredible job at doing what they can to protect the environment. I definitely hope that they will inspire other sports. I mean, not just because, they're such a great foundation, but because of how much they care about the environment and they're using their platform to be an advocate for it. I mean, they're planting new seagrass and doing whatever they can to make it better.
Ever made a model as big as this? This is the English Lake District, made out of 200,000 plastic bricks. John Taldoff started making this massive model during the pandemic, and now it's 100 square feet in size. That's the same size as 250 computer tablets put together.
We're heading to South Africa for our next report. Did you know that there used to be a system there that discriminated against black people? Up until the early 1990s, a white government enforced was known as apartheid. Black South Africans couldn't vote and they couldn't go to the same schools, cafes, cinemas, restaurants, or even live in the same areas as white people. After decades of pressure from other countries and this man, Nelson Mandela, who was in prison for fighting against apartheid, the system came to an end and Mr. Mandela became South Africa's first black president. But has the country moved on from this kind of discrimination? Yes, in many ways, but Ben, who watches FYI in South Africa, contacted us with his story, which suggests that there's still a long way to go.
This is my mom, and this is my dad. These are my 2 sisters, and my 4 nieces. Hi, I'm Ben, and I live in South Africa. I know what you're wondering. We look different. How can that be? I'm adopted, but my adopted family is all I've ever known. When I was a baby, I was living in an orphanage, which was facing closure. But thankfully, they found me a family which I could call my own.
You see his face is all dirty, that was his birthday.
What I would say I love about my mom, she's a very outgoing person. And my dad, he's the kind of person that if you're down, he'll make you happy in 2 seconds flat. My siblings inspire me to do better. Not all the time, because you know how siblings are.
It isn't common in South Africa, cross-racial, cross-colour adoption, and it should be. We say we are a rainbow nation, so why not more rainbow families?
It is very hard to be adopted, especially interracial, because when we go out, you get stared at and you get asked very personal questions. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It will come up to me and ask me, is that your real mom? Why is she that color? I don't speak Setswana. Why don't you speak that language? That I'm letting down ancestors. They'll make me feel horrible about it. I've decided to do something about it. I've invited my friends over to explain to them how I feel. I feel like I don't know what my heritage is because I'm adopted. Maybe I should start talking about this more.
I think you should. I mean, we live in such a diverse country anyways, and you're the epitome of that.
I mean, my mom is British, so maybe I could say I have a British heritage.
Yeah, both my parents are Greek, so.
Yeah, I just have South African heritage, really.
I understand where he comes from, and I really empathize with him. If you just look at a few years back when the whole apartheid thing happened, we've actually grown. But if you look at household units like Ben's, you can see unconditional love. You can see skin tone doesn't play a part.
Your skin color, it doesn't define who you are. It's just color, like the colors in your pencil case. It's nothing.
If you have a story and want to report for FYI, get in touch via our webpage. Even better, get your teacher to set up an FYI news club at your school. You can watch and discuss the latest episodes and get on the programme with your views and reports. Head to first.news/FYI.
So, has Joe Biden really banned gas stoves in America? The answer is no, it's fake news. We found a statement from a spokesperson for the American government which said they weren't planning on banning gas stoves, although measures will have to be taken if they're not made safer. For info on how to spot fake news, head to our webpage and click on the link for our I Don't Get It explainers. There's one on fake news.
Check this out. The world's rarest chimpanzee has been born at Chester Zoo. The critically endangered western chimpanzee was born to mum Zizi. It's a small but vital boost to the global population.
Now this got us thinking. Zoos can be an amazing place to protect endangered animals, but many people believe they should be in the natural habitat, which is the wild.
So we wanted to give you your shout on this. Over to an FYI news club in a village in South Devon, said to be one of the most beautiful coastal villages with some of the narrowest streets in the country. We're there to hear from an FYI news club at Sheldon Primary School.
Do you think animals should be in zoos?
No,
Why?
because it takes away all their freedom to do what they want, and they don't have any privacy because of the people staring at them. If like those zoos are doing like really good conservation work and are trying to preserve the animals, then yes, have the zoos.
Animals that aren't endangered should be roaming freely because they don't deserve to be stuck in tiny enclosures usually.
Unless they're needed, they're being saved. I don't think
Endangered.
I don't think it's needed for them to just capture animals and put them in cages so people could look at them.
I think that people can learn stuff from zoos, but they can also learn stuff when they're in their natural habitat. They don't have to be looked up. I think it's good to learn about animals because if we learn more about them, then that means that we'll know how to take care of them.
But if we didn't have zoos, then if people wanted to see these animals, then they'd have to travel thousands of miles to get there. Nobody would like it if they were trapped in a zoo.
No.
So animals could look at you.
So, we know that January can be a bit of a downer, so we're going to leave you with some news that will make you smile.
Yes, so a record number of baby seals has been spotted on the coast of Norfolk. A total of 3,796 seal pups have been born so far this winter. That's more than double than in 2019.
Cue the cute pictures. See you next time. Bye.